Worship, you have before you a report from staff proposing council consider an alternative approval process for loan authorization bylaw number 0957. This is for the replacement of the Johnson Street Bridge. But before council may adopt that bylaw, they must receive assent of the electors. Two methods are available. One is the alternative approval process, the other is referendum. In this case, we're proposing an alternative approval process because of the non-discretionary nature of this infrastructure project and the timeliness with which we need council's consideration to adopt the loan bylaw.
Worship, I continue to support the project with the research that we've done as the council and certainly the research that I have done as an individual in terms of the choice between replacement and refurbishment. I do feel that replacement is the way to go. The presentation that the engineer from Seattle made, who was brought in to discuss other alternatives to replacement, and it was a very useful and very interesting presentation. I also was able to have lunch with him the next day and ask a number of questions. And although I was satisfied that there's all kinds of different ways of dealing with remediation, with the environmental issues, with closures and that kind of thing, the one thing that I was not satisfied on was the potential to truly increase the carrying capacity of the bridge to provide a first-rate environment for pedestrians and cyclists, and for me to also maintain the train crossing. We're commenting on my views around the alternative approval process. The process is, I suppose, a tool of privilege that councils have. I simply hold myself to a higher level of accountability when I put the public in the position of having to take action if they wish to question a council direction. So although it's an awkward position to be in because I am supportive of the direction that council to this date has gone in, I feel that there was more work that we could have done in responding to initiating more information for the public up to this point. So for that, specific to the borrowing itself, I'm not able to support the motion today.
Thank you. Mr. Woodland, comments on our ability to provide information during the AAP process?
Well, there's no limitations on the city's ability to provide information to support electors' decision-making as to whether to submit a petition or not. I suspect those who do not support council's direction on this project will be providing information of their own to support the petitioning process. And I think it's behooves the city to provide the information that we have at our disposal to the public so that they can make an informed decision.
That I still believe that replacing is what I'm most comfortable than repairing. But I don't think we have had that larger discussion to the state, not to the same extent, but to the extent where the public, our citizens have felt comfortable in being able to make that decision themselves.
And now we have a proposal in front of us that says for the next 45 days, for those who are interested, that they have a chance to voice. It is a litmus test. It's a legitimate form of going out and consulting. We do need to make clear that the consultation is approval for $42 million for a new bridge. It's not a referendum on replacement versus a new bridge. This is $42 million. If 10% of the population would like us to go and consult completely by referendum, then they would have a referendum on borrowing $42 million for a new bridge. After that, the option is for the council to look at paying out of property taxes over the next 2 years.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will support the motion. The issues that we're going to place before the public or those who are opposed to the replacement of the bridge are going to put issues in front of the public, and I don't see that a referendum process would change the dynamic of how that information is presented. The incumbent upon us in a referendum to suddenly change course and say this is why you shouldn't approve this process. That's somebody else's task.
The question that you pose as to who's able to view those is something we're pursuing right now. There's obviously issues about the result being valid and transparent, and then there's issues relating to protection of personal information for privacy purposes. So that's a question I don't have an answer to quite yet, and we'll have shortly.
I too had a meeting with the Seattle consultant who was brought in, I do thank the Johnson Street Bridge.org folks for bringing him in and for giving us the opportunity to speak with them, because it did reinforce my belief that we're on the right track in terms of replacing a bridge versus refurbishment. 45 days is an incredible opportunity for us to renew our dialogue with the general public on this project. And so what I would request from staff would be a report on our outreach strategy for the next 45 days, both on the alternate approval process that we put forward, or that we're considering today, as well as the council direction in terms of moving towards Councillor Chandler.
Thank you, and it's an interesting discussion on the table, some comments that I wasn't necessarily expecting, and I've struggled a lot with the alternative approval process. It doesn't leave me feeling 100% comfortable.
There are issues that have to be addressed, but I don't know, on the basis of the information we've had, that we must build a new bridge. And with respect, colleagues, you don't know. I also chose to advance only one of those options to further work. I felt that was a mistake. I would suggest, and certainly I would, I think that the information that our private citizens have brought forward to us, and that I can glean just by going on the internet, that there is a lot that we do not know, and we chose not to learn about refurbishing bridges. And certainly I was struck most forcibly by the comment on the U.S. bridge expert who was brought in that said, when he said that if there is an option to repair as cheaply as you can replace, then you always choose to repair. Even our own experts agree that repair is cheaper than replace. So to this alternative approval process, we're shortcutting public input. And if we're going to do that, I think we carry a level of responsibility to the public to provide them with information on both sides of the issue. And that we have signally failed. I think by doing this, we may well be making a wrong decision.
I think it is inappropriate for you to suggest that council, that staff has been providing us with tainted information.
I didn't suggest that. I suggested the public will perceive that our staff is providing tainted information.
Well, that's good. I didn't want to think that you're implying also fundamental to understand that this is a representative democracy. That there was, frankly, if you want to say it, a referendum a year ago that said the people sitting around these tables are the people that the citizens of Victoria want to make decisions. That's part of it. We have an opportunity to go here and talk to citizens to see if they have a fundamental problem with this.
Sorry, I may explain that poorly. You would not see the petition forms as a part of the routine certification of the petition. That's my role, that's my responsibility. The question that I'm seeking to answer is, does someone have the right to inspect those under certain circumstances? You should move forward with the assumption that disclosure of the individual petitions is not part of my reporting out process to you. You will simply receive a certified result from me saying that we've received X number of petitions, and either that's a sufficient amount or non-sufficient amount.
Can I call the question? All those in favor of advancing the APP process for borrowing of $42 million for a new bridge, that is the decision. We will also look to, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 2 opposed?